Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Bex here to do the daylight savings tag. This is a short, cute little tag. There's 6 questions. I saw Eric at Break Even Books do this earlier this year. It must have been during the last time the clocks changed in the spring, but now we are in the fall, so we're falling back. The original creator of the tag is a blog, so I will link that down below as well if you want to go check out the origins of it. But yes, as I mentioned, 6 questions, so let's get started. Question 1 is Fallback, longest book you like. And I went to my Goodreads for this. I really had to look at Goodreads for a lot of these questions and sorted by number of pages. A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin is the longest book that I've ever read, and it is also a book that I really like. The total page count is 1,177 pages, and I read this book back in 2012. I have a video review of this book, as much as you can call it a review back in the day. I feel like at that time we weren't as thorough with our reviews, but I do have a video from back when this channel first started. It's one of the most watched videos on our channel. And when I read that book, my jaw literally dropped during scenes that you would know, you know, the red wedding scene, that sort of thing. I remember being on campus, because I was still in university at the time, reading the book during lunchtime, and just, yeah, the jaw literally dropping. So I had a really good time with that book. It is still the best book of the series that exists so far, in my opinion, and in many others' opinions as well. So that's why it gets to be the answer to this question. Question 2, Spring Forward. What's the shortest book that you like? And for this, I chose Lyra's Oxford by Philip Pullman. I read this book last year, and it's a little companion novella to go with the original His Dark Materials series. So it's technically book 3.5, and it takes place after the events of The Amber Spyglass. The book is only 56 pages, and it has a beautiful map inside of it that you can open up and take a look at Lyra's Oxford. And it's just very well done, and I really liked the story, especially how it related to the rest of the series. It's just a little glimpse into what Lyra's life was after all of the events that happened in the main series. And it felt kind of cozy, like a little creepy, as those books can. There's a level of darkness in them. As short as the book was, I thought it did an excellent job of immersing you back into Lyra's world and giving you a little snippet of a story in this Oxford that Lyra exists in, which if I were to go to school in a fantasy world, I would probably go to Lyra's Oxford. Question 3 is Clocks, a series that keeps going. And for this, I said the Nancy Drew books, which is a series that I really haven't thought that much about since I was a lot younger. I knew there was a lot of books in this series. Turns out there's 175 of them, and they're sort of the classic, original 56 classic Nancy Drews, and then the rest of them are slightly more to very modern. Of the 10 books that I've read from this series, 9 of them I read as from the classic side, and I have 1 more modern one that I've read, but 175 books is a lot of books. The author, Carolyn Keene, is a pen name, so she did not write all of the books. I don't even know if there was an actual Carolyn Keene or if it was a pen name the entire time, but that's a lot of books. It spawned sort of spin-off series as well. When I was thinking about what series I could choose for this question, I remembered that the first book in the Nancy Drew series is The Secret of the Old Clock, and the prompt for this question is clocks. So that worked out pretty well. Question 4 is Our Hand, a book you read in a week. And I tried to pull from something that I've read this year, and that is Complications by Atul Gawande. I technically read this in 5 days, but unless it's a graphic novel, a graphic memoir, I rarely read a book in a week these days. There's just so many other things going on in life besides my 9 to 5 that I just don't usually get through a book that fast, but this one I did manage to get through in under a week. Part of that is because this is medical nonfiction, and that is a subgenre that I have slowly been figuring out over the years that I really enjoy, and so I was pulled to keep reading this book. The other reason that I managed to finish this in a week or less is because I was on vacation for part of that time, so I just had a lot more time to read. But other than graphic novels, this is the fastest that I've read a book this year. Question 5 is Minute Hand, a book you read in a day. So for this one I had to pull from previous years because I have not read a book in a day in 2023. And I chose Brilliant Maps for Curious Minds, 100 New Ways to See the World. This is by Ian Wright and it's illustrated by Infographically. So this is a coffee table book, and the reason I was able to finish it in a day is because there's not a ton of words. It's a lot of maps, as you can imagine, outlining different things. So you might be reading some info, like this one has a bit more text on it than some of the others, but it's just maps of the world, like every country's highest valued export as an example. It's got colors and stuff. So yeah, that's why I was able to get through in a day. It's a really fun book if you're into geography and just kind of knowing things about the world. When I read this, it was a really nice day outside, so I think I read most of it outside. It was in the springtime because I remember there being a lot of flowers around, but yeah, so that's the book that I was able to read in a day because it wasn't a traditional book. Question 6, Secondhand, a book you read in one sitting. There's even less books to choose from for this category. I mean, not counting when I was 6 and I would plow through a Magic Treehouse book in a day. I'm talking maybe since high school or later. What kind of books would I actually be finishing in one sitting? For this, I decided to talk about the Princess Diaries mini books. So the Princess Diaries series by Meg Cabot has the original 10 novels. There's 11th and 12th one now that are more recent, but they weren't part of the original 10. And then in between some of those 10 novels, there were these little mini books, kind of like what I mentioned with Lyra's Oxford before. It's the same sort of thing. It kind of expands on the story, but these ones were in between the other novels. And there was little things like Project Princess or The Princess Present, Sweet 16 Princess, and they were short in length and they were just short in stature as well, and I would always borrow them from the library and flip through them and read them in one sitting because they were so short, but they were really fun. And you know, the Princess Diaries series, if you did read them growing up, you know how the style of writing in there is very familiar and friendly and casual, and these little books were the same way. So you could just blast through a couple of those books in a single day, and definitely in one sitting, which I'm very sure that I did. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is a short and sweet little tag, so that's it. Those are my answers to the 6 questions. If you have any comments about the books that I used as answers to these questions, feel free to leave those down below. As always, all of our links are in the down bar as well, so you can go check those out if you feel so inclined. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later.